have had a great week. I am getting settled into my new space, and there are a few things that I just need so desperately right now. One of them is a bookshelf. The other one is a floor cushion, because almost everything in this house is hard floor, which I love and I prefer, but it is difficult to sit on the floor for long periods of time to record. So floor cushion is on the way. Bookshelf, I am like scouring Facebook Marketplace for, and people have been asking about the furniture and stuff that I've kind of acquired. 95% of it is all like thrifted and found on Facebook Marketplace, which is where I spend a lot of time these days. The other thing, actually the last really important thing that I've kind of been looking for is art. And I am not an expert by any stretch of the imagination with art, and I have so many friends who are brilliant and have that sort of mind, and so I get really overwhelmed when I try and look for pieces because I don't really know what I'm looking for. I know what I like, but sometimes I just, like, the vision that I have in my head doesn't fit with how it like transpires in my home, so we'll see how that goes. I like to tell people when people ask me like my taste in art, if you compare the Metropolitan Museum of Art versus the MoMA, I am very much a Metropolitan Museum of Art person. That is what speaks to me. I don't know what it means. I don't know what I'm supposed to be looking for, but I very much like that style. And I also really like Jean Cocteau. He wrote The Holy Terrors. So he's like a writer and an artist. I like his art as well. And who else do I like? I couldn't tell you. But it feels important to have in my house because it makes me feel good on the inside. And I guess that's what matters when you bring art into your home. Anyways, the first order of business in this week's video, as promised, because I talked about this in my last YouTube episode, is how to fix and correct your attention span, because I've read so many articles recently about how AI is like destroying the society, and AI is this, AI is that, and like, yes, we know. I think what's frustrating for me is like, I want to read something that is actually going to be helpful and not just people's opinions, which are valid and also important, but I want to be able to share some things that have been helping me with my attention span in hopes that it will help you as well, if that makes sense. So that's what we're going to talk about right now, and then we'll get into some other stuff after that. I think that there is something really disorienting about how difficult it has been lately to finish a thought when I'm speaking to somebody in person, and to actually carry it like all the way through from beginning to end without interruption and without feeling fragmented in my sentence structure, and without this like reflexive tug of a notification or this like sudden urge or need to check my inbox or my text or my notifications for the third time in 10 minutes. And oftentimes I find myself like sitting down to read or sitting down to write, or like simply trying to sit still in like a few unstructured minutes, but before my mind has even had the chance to settle, and before it can like stretch out and expand the way that it used to when I was younger, or like less chronically overstimulated, I feel myself like already reaching for my phone. I am someone who mentally scrolls through my to-do list. Sometimes my mind will wander into conversations that I've had the day before. It's not that like I can't focus, though it certainly feels that way at times. It's just more about like how my attention has slowly and methodically and very profitably been dismantled by this culture that treats our consciousness as a resource to be extracted, or as like our boredom as a failure to be corrected. Even like our inner life feels like this inconvenience. And I think the most disturbing thing to me is that we've all started to believe that it's normal. So I think there are several reasons like how our attention span got hijacked. I think we treat our inability to focus as a personal failure, as if the scatteredness that we all feel is a result of laziness or having like a weak sense of will. But I think the truth is that we've been conditioned to, flinch away from slowness, and it's rewarded like over and over and over again for being distracted, especially on social media. Our devices are not neutral. They are very much engineered environments that are designed to fragment our attention into smaller pieces until the only thing that's left is this kind of like buzzing mental static. And algorithms truly reward speed, platforms reward reaction. And the longer that you stay in this loop, the harder it is to become or think clearly or stick with discomfort, or even like having this intellectual curiosity to go deeper into what you may be reading about or thinking about. And we end up mistaking simulation for thought and noise for knowledge. I think many people, researchers, writers, philosophers have said something along the lines of a wealth of information creates a poverty of attention. But it's more than just poverty, it's this hollowing. Because when you lose your ability to pay sustained attention, you don't just lose access to focus, you really lose access to meaning and to this deeper current beneath the surface of things. And without that depth, I feel like life around you starts to feel blurry and fuzzy and difficult to focus. But there are definitely ways to rebuild this muscle of attention. So if attention is a form of love, then most of us are loving everything halfway. Our eyes flicker and our minds wander and our fingers swipe reflexively through hundreds of tiny worlds and universes before breakfast even starts. And we wonder why nothing feels like it belongs to us. But attention, like love, is something that you can return to. And this return isn't grand or cinematic. It starts small. It really starts with the decision that, 1 hour belongs to one thing, with choosing a book over a feed, or a paragraph over a headline, or a moment of stillness over a moment of noise. It has to be very intentional. And what has helped me the most is ritual, and not like an aesthetic ritual, but an architectural one, something that gives your body a shape to move through and a pattern to rely on when willpower fades. So maybe that's lighting the same candle when you write, or playing the same playlist when you read, or keeping, one specific table clear. Maybe using the same pen, or rituals like that. I think the more repetition that I create, the easier it is to enter this state of focus without asking my brain to do the heavy lifting. And so, the other important thing that I've done is scheduling your distractions. I don't try to resist them, I just make them very deliberate. So if I want to scroll, I scroll, but not during work, not during reading time, not during meals. I scroll in blocks, like it's a snack, and not a constant drip feed. And when it's over, I close it. And that one practice has given me more mental clarity than any other digital detox ever has. I think the other thing that's really important that a lot of people don't talk about is nourishing your nervous system. And you can't focus if your body feels unsafe. Most of our attention problems aren't cognitive, they're physiological. I think, we're trying to access these deep reflective thoughts in bodies that are stuck in fight or flight. We're asking our brains to be present while our nervous systems are bracing for impact. And so I have started to focus less on optimizing my habits and more on regulating my state of mind. Huberman is really problematic, and we should abolish most men on podcasts, but sunlight in the face when you wake up, no screens, no input, just light and silence is really important from a physiological and biological standpoint. Making breakfast before coffee with protein, something warm or cold, something that is nourishing and filling to the body and the mind. Maybe going on a walk without headphones, or letting yourself be bored, that's a hard one. That was one of the hardest ones for me. Taking long showers at night with no podcast, no playlist, just the sound of water and your own thoughts. And, you know, that's like when nothing is asked of you. And I used to think that boredom was just failure, because in my mind it would just run over my to-do list over and over and over again. And now I think it's a gateway into a fuller, richer mind. I think also people don't talk enough about resisting the aesthetic sense of urgency, because there is this very specific flavor of pressure that comes from living inside of a culture that treats urgency as a proof of importance. If you're not responding fast enough or achieving fast enough or updating the world on your progress in real time, you start to feel like you're behind or maybe invisible. But I think urgency is often, I'm sitting on a pillow. I think urgency is often a lie that, you know, it's like this manufactured tension that pulls you out of your interior world and into this like reactive state. And over time, that state becomes chronic and we live like we're constantly on the verge of something, and it's exhausting. So I think it's important to practice inefficient living. Like take the longer walk, like reply to texts when you're actually ready and not when a notification tells you to. Write in a paper journal that no one else sees. Like find a recipe that you've always wanted to make, go on the New York Times Cooking and make a soup. Well, it's summer, maybe not make a soup, but make something that takes time, like a project recipe, and don't post it. Just do it for you. Maybe read books slower with a pencil, annotate them, because underlining something makes it feel so much more alive than just liking it. I think slowness is not an aesthetic. It's like this resistance and this refusal to collapse, you know, your life into a timeline that was never meant to hold the full weight of your being. So, yeah. I think what attention really is not just about focus, it's about intimacy, and it's how we show reverence to the world, and it's how we say that this matters enough to stay with it. Like this, what we're doing matters, and it matters enough to be present with it and do it for you and nobody else. When you offer your full attention to someone, whether it's a sentence, a person, a thought, you create the conditions for meaning to arise. And not because you're trying to be productive, but because you're allowing this sense of depth to really take root in what you're doing. All of these things pull you inward and remind you that you're not just a machine for output, but really you're a human that is capable of nuance and of silence and of wonder and intellectual curiosity. And it's not about deleting your apps and escaping the internet. It's about choosing not to abandon yourself within the noise, and the ability to create these little sanctuaries inside your day and spaces where your mind can stretch out and breathe and fully belong to itself. So if you've been feeling scatterbrained, and if your thoughts have felt thinner, and if your sense of self has started to flicker away, like, I want you to know that it's not just you. It's very evident in most of the articles that we read these days. You're not broken, you're just tired of being pulled in 1,000 different directions at once. So start small, light the candle, close the tab, write a sentence, read a page, because whatever you give to your attention is what becomes real in your life. And slowly and steadily with practice, you can make your mind yours again. I believe in my last video, I was talking to you about my next project book. I was between 3, and I kind of like spoke about what each one was about. I was between East of Eden by John Steinbeck, Paradise Lost by John Milton, and Ulysses by James Joyce. I have not read any of these books. In fact, I'm not super fond of Steinbeck, the books that I have read of his, and I think it's just because I had such a crap time in one of my English classes with a teacher who like raved about Steinbeck, and that's all they made us read, and it was just not a fun time. Anyways, I'm also not never mind. Anyways, this feels, after like really thinking about what I'm trying to, the vibe that I'm trying to encapsulate in my next project book, I feel like this is a great summer book. It feels hot and sticky and sweaty and humid, and it's like dry California, which is antithetical of what I just said, but it feels like something that I should read in the summer. And she's very thick. So my goal is to finish this by the second week of August, because once August hits, I'm done with summer. I mean, I've been done with summer, but like I'm very much in autumn mode. I'm prepping for autumn, prepping everything in my life for autumn. And I will be so fed up with this as well. So I'm gonna just start this now, I think. And then in fall, I feel like this might be one of my project books for fall this year. And then Ulysses feels like the perfect project book to dive into late fall, starting winter, because it feels very masochistic in a wintry sort of way, which I love. That's my favorite. I think I should probably share my July TBR with you in this video. That's what I'm gonna do. So East of Eden is one of them, and then I'm gonna be reading a couple of the NYRB books. In fact, I'll make another section in this video and I'll showcase all the books that I'm reading this month, but this is definitely gonna be my next project book, which I'm really excited about because people have said nothing but incredible things about this. And I think there are definitely aspects of this story, especially like the religious undertones, that I will very much appreciate. Same with In Paradise Lost. As a side note, speaking of just not being a summer person, I attempt summer activities frequently to try and get into the spirit of the season. And I went to the beach, and let me just tell you, and I'm so sorry if I lose some of you here, but I hate the beach. I very much dislike the beach. I don't like the sand. I don't like where it goes. I'm not big on like really bright sunny days. It gives me a headache, and then sand gets in my eye and every other orifice of my body. And I also don't like the water. I think I am a cat for sure. It's not my thing. You know what though? I will say, like, stormy, beachy cliffsides on like in New England, like on the coast of Maine or something, or in the Pacific Northwest, that's a vibe. Do I want to be there? Do I want to be in the water? No. Do I think it's beautiful? Absolutely. But like, that feels very sea witch to me, which I can 100% appreciate. But like the bright, sunny, beachy days where everyone's in a bikini and like we're all out, like, could not be me. I've actually never worn a two-piece bathing suit in my life. Anyways, I want to talk to you about my July TBR and a few other things in the rest of this video. So I do have my July TBR, and I want to tell you about each one. They're right there. One of them I already mentioned, East of Eden, but there's a few more that I want to kind of like intertwine into my reading. I don't know if I'll get to all of them, but they're definitely top of mind for this month. Okay, so the first one that I have is On Being Blue by William Glass, and this is like a dense lyrical meditation on the color blue as it intersects with language and emotion and eroticism, and this author really blends philosophy and sensuality in a very dazzling way that is as much about words as it is about color. So that's one. And then the second one that I have on the top of my list, I'm trying to like pull from my NYRBs that I just got because I've been really excited to read these. But this is The Juniper Tree by Barbara Combs. I think that's how you say her name. And this is basically a strange, soft gothic retelling of the Brothers Grimm fairy tale that is set in mid-century England. It's a single mother who is drawn into this world of a wealthy family where love and loss and eerie domestic tension unfold. So very excited about this, very up my alley. The next one is, I love this cover so much, A Game of Hide and Seek by Elizabeth Taylor. This is a quiet, aching love story about mischances and emotional restraint, and it follows Harriet and Bessie, whose youthful romance never quite fades even as life moves on. This is very understated, very English, and very devastating. I have talked about this book on here before. I love Anne Carson. If you have not read Anne Carson, I highly, highly recommend her books. But this is called An Autobiography of Red, and it is a modern mythological novel in verse, which is a reimagining story of Geryon and Heracles, which is like, this is like a Greek myth story. It's queer. It's a poetic exploration of desire, pain, identity, and it blends ancient myth with contemporary emotion. This is also right up my alley. It feels perfect for summer as well. And then my last one, which I've already talked to you about, is East of Eden. This is my priority read. Everything else is going to be kind of supplemental throughout the month because I know this might get heavy at times, and so it's nice to have like a little bite-sized book. I almost put Caliban and the Witch on my July TBR, but it feels perfect for August. Sweltering heat, gothic, witchy summer, August. So I got a few things from Cezanne. Usually with me and other creators, they'll send us like a voucher to spend on some tops or whatever we want from their website. So I got a few things, and I thought I would try them on for you if you're curious. So this top looks good in theory, and it looks really pretty in like photographs and stuff, but I would never wear this out. Never in a million years, because it is so see-through and it's very like dainty, skimpy, and like it's not, I don't feel comfortable with it. There are certain girls who can pull this kind of stuff off and it looks so flawless on them, and I am not one of those girls at all. I feel exposed. I just want to be wrapped in something else. But I feel like the detail on this top is really, really pretty. Like, I think they do a really great job at detailing and stuff. So maybe it's my own insecurities, but this is the first top that I got. Okay, I wanted to pull my hair back so you could see this top. I wanted to get something that was more work type style top. I also feel like this top would look really, really cute like going out, which is something I don't do, but I love a low V-neck. Like, I love a low V. Even though I am a part of the itty bitty titty committee, I still like this type of, like, if I'm at a show, skin, décolletage, which I think is how you say it. I've heard people say it a billion different ways, but this area, love. Legs, love. Tummy, never. Arms, This is what I feel comfortable with. Anyways, I really like the sleeves on this as well, like a little button detail, and I like the shoulders. So I feel like this would be cute for like an interview. I feel like it would be cute going out, depending on how you dressed it up or dressed it down. I really like this. It's also my comfort color. Okay, this is the last top that I got. I actually think this might be my favorite. I thought, I was kind of afraid that it would wash me out a little bit because I have really pale skin, and maybe it does wash me out a little bit, but this is super pretty. And I love, it's kind of like a cropped length, but I feel like this is just really pretty. And I feel like it's pretty for like the summer to autumn transition, where like you can start thinking about wearing sweaters again, and you can dress it up, dress it down. This is really pretty. I like the sleeves on this as well. Like they're kind of like a tighter sleeve, and then these details are really pretty. Anyways, I could never be a fashion influencer. I don't know how they do it. I will say this is itchy. Probably looks itchy. I have very sensitive skin though, so I am sensitive to a lot of different fabrics, and this is definitely a bit itchy. I also would never wear anything under this. Like I don't wear bras. Like I hate bras so much. So everything that I wear, like every fabric from a top, just goes directly on my skin. Anyways, this is probably boring for you guys. But yeah, I do love Cezanne. To be honest with you, I really love Doen as well. And I prefer a lot of Doen tops to Cezanne tops for several reasons. One, the fabric is so light and breathable and airy. I love it so much. Cezanne does have beautiful cashmere sweaters. So I feel like if you're thinking about those two brands, those are kind of like my pros and cons to both of them. Doen is great, but everything that they make is see-through. Cezanne is beautiful. It's a lot more practical for going out, but just be wary of like the material and things like that. I feel like both brands have something for everybody. And I think that they both have like, I don't want to say a similar aesthetic, but I think you can find something for your aesthetic in both categories, both brands. Anyways, I am rambling on. So this was my haul. This is super pretty. This makes me feel very princessy. Okay, I have a confession to make. I did shop the Amazon Prime sale, and it's because I have been looking for a pair of over-the-ear headphones. This is not sponsored, by the way. I was generously gifted by a family member the AirPod Maxes, and I really thought that they were cute. However, as you know, I wear glasses all the time, and the problem with the AirPod Maxes is that every time I had them on my head, I would have these terrible, raging headaches because they would dig into the corners of my glasses. Anyways, so with my own money, while they were on sale, I bought these Marshall over-the-ear headphones. Number one, because I think they look really cute, and every girl who I've ever seen wear these headphones looks so cute. And I was like, okay, I want to be cute. So that was the first reason. Second reason is because I heard that they were cushy on my ear. And the third reason, which was very important to me, is that they came in this beautiful, beautiful chocolate brown color, which, if you know me, brown is my favorite color, and black, but I love brown, especially chocolate brown. So I think that they're really cute and they don't hurt my head, and I co-sign on these headphones, and they weren't badly priced. Like I got these for like $69, which is not bad compared to the hefty price tag of like $600 Apple headphones. Anyways, I love these and they're super cute. Also, I listen to a lot of jazz music, if you guys know anything about me. And for jazz, they sound incredible with jazz music on in the background. Like incredible. Like it's perfect amount of bass, perfect amount of treble. The sound is amazing. So I love them. I love him too. As a sort of last segment to this video, I thought I would kind of share a couple fragrances that I've been liking. I haven't talked about fragrances in a couple weeks. So I think in this sweltering heat, there are only like a few fragrances that you should be wearing. One of them for me that I've really been enjoying is Studied by Lise. It's very, very light, like a pear, clean, fresh, ambroxan, second skin. Love this. This is my favorite scent. This is my favorite scent by Lise. The other one that I've been really, really loving is Jasmine Tea by One Day. I feel like this is another very light, fresh, green scent. I feel like when it's hot outside, you don't want to wear anything that's going to offend anyone. So I've been sticking with like light scents. Molecule 01, I'm always going to wear that, but that's another great one for summer. And the last one that I've been wearing a ton of is Another 13 by Le Labo. I feel like, I know Le Labo gets a lot of hate, but honestly, like, their perfumes are so incredibly long lasting and such good quality that I will always buy Le Labo. And Another 13 is like a new discovery for me. I kind of avoided it for a while, but this is such a beautiful second skin scent. It smells good and it smells different on anyone. This also has a pear note, very ambroxan forward, very second skin, similar to Studied, but this is a lot stronger than Studied. So been loving Another 13, especially layered with Molecule. And this also has ISOE Super in it, so it's gonna smell very woody and very sensual. This is great for the summer, all year round, but especially for like warmer weather days. Okay, I think that's everything for this week. I have 2 more finals this week. I need to get off the floor because my butt hurts, and I will plan for another fun video next week when I have time to actually plan this out a little bit better. But I hope that you enjoyed. I definitely want to share more home stuff. I was thinking about sharing like an organizing my bookshelf type of video because I'm gonna get a bookshelf next week. So anyways, I have to go study. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll see you soon.